So I've been instalocking this agent for a month now, and I need a therapist. So I've been playing Valorant pretty much consistently since the game launched, and well, sometimes Valorant gets boring.
Shocking!
And so what I realized is that something needed to change in the way I play Valorant. I've tried strat roulette, randomizing guns, and as well as randomizing the agent I pick in the game. And I even went full tryhard in competitive, even as far as using aim labs. So I could pick a gold too. I've pretty much played the game in every single way possible, except of one way. As days went by, I realized something, a pattern perhaps. Pretty much every other game I would encounter at least one of these types of players, which are more annoying than a brain-dead 5-year-old confusing my mom with their mom. And those players are the instalockers. So I decided that I will become an instalocker as well. Now that I know what to do in order to not die from boredom, I need to choose an agent to instalock. I could have just gone with a randomizer, but that would be too lame. So I decided to choose an agent who will help me turn my plastic rank aim to Alpha Male Giga Chad 14 Pro Max Ultra aim, and it came down to 3 options. First option was Chamber. His abilities are literally the Sheriff and the Op on steroids. But I decided not to go with him, mainly because I wanted someone more agile. Then I thought about my kabayan, oh yeah, Filipino bird chicken, Neon. Her ult needs some aim to land, plus she's fast and agile. But then again, if I wanted to play someone with a run and gun jutsu, I would have just played Overwatch. So we come to the final option, which is Jett. Why did they decide to instalock Jett? She's the movement-based agent with her dash and updraft, and even though she's probably the simplest agent to play as, I suck playing her. Her ulti has a limited amount of knives, which relies on me landing my shots, and trust me, I was terrible at landing them. I've literally killed just 5 people out of. Quick disclaimer. Please do not be a douche and start instalocking Jett after watching this video. This video, unlike your homework folder, is for scientific purposes, mostly.
Let's go!
So it started. In the beginning I was doing pretty good. I got a couple of match and team MVPs with good KDA, but that's not the point. The point is that I had to improve my aim and my non-existent skills using her. So I was motivated to learn the ways of a Jett main by going to YouTube University.
Revive me, Jett, revive me. Jett, revive me, use your ulti, Jett. Jett, come on, Jett, revive.
So all I needed to do was to revive someone? Am I doing this wrong?
What the f?
But seriously though, the most important thing I needed to do is to aim correctly and not spam her knives every time. Easy, right? Wrong. So I thought, why not use a gun that will make me rely on aiming the head? And so I set a limit to myself to only use the Ghost or the Sheriff on pistol rounds, and then Marshall and Guardian on the rest of the rounds, 99% of the time. For a while, I felt weird trying to remember to control my shots and not spray. It was like trying to stop mustard. After a couple of games, I started getting the hang of it, and at one point I was confident enough to pull out my big ult, but then I thought I had the recipe for success. I knew I was doing something wrong, even with the attempts to control my shots. Then, my friend said this.
By the way, Mark, with Jett's knives when you Q and jump, aim above their heads.
I was stunned, because it makes so much sense. So I followed his advice and started aiming higher with the Jett ult. And it kinda worked. But honestly, I still needed some getting used to. Two weeks have passed and I've barely seen any improvement. To be honest, my aim might have gotten slightly worse. And even though I feel like I'm getting more kills, the opposite is true. And it feels like my efforts were in vain. And the worst of it all is that one game where this happened. Oh my god! Your eyes don't deceive you. I've died more than the number of rounds I've played in this game. Half of the game, I was just spectating my teammates. And whenever I got to play, I would do some of the dumbest plays, and whiff harder than when the other sperm whiffed the target, which ended with me being born. And at that point, I was so close to stop playing Jett altogether because I felt like I was losing it.
Well, I did break my mouse during that game.
I felt like there was no point in continuing. In the end, I persevered. I used that as motivation to get better. I continued instalocking Jett and promised that I wouldn't stop till You saw, right? All the effort was paying off. A few days later, I started landing my shots, but there's a problem. Jett's ult doesn't have a scope. And you might be asking, so what? Let's watch those clips again. I wasn't getting kills without using the scope. I relied on scoping more than I should. So I decided to relax the limits I've set to myself and include the other guns that can one-tap as long as I avoided using the scope. For most of this challenge, I've been playing mostly unrated games, but I did play some ranked games as well. In ranked, I haven't been doing as well as I wanted. I mean, sure, my aim has gotten better, but it hasn't translated well into the games I've played, and as a result, I've been through many losing streaks. I even got demoted back to Gold 1, and I was on the brink of going back to Silver at one point. Not gonna lie, I didn't want to touch Silver ever again, because the C in Silver stands for cringe. So instead of me going back to shoot spheres on aim labs, I went to the practice range and kept practicing shooting with Jett's ulti. Now, the thing that is stopping me from landing the knives is not that I am missing most of my shots anymore, it was still happening, but it is a fear of using the ultimate. I would rarely feel confident enough to activate her ult, just like me trying to speak with my crush. And when I did, it would have been mostly in rounds where I was using the Marshall, and it isn't something that can be solved by practicing, but can only be solved by time. Spoilers, that never happened except in one game that I'll talk about later. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Yes! Before I continue on rambling about the rest of the challenge, I want to make things clear. I haven't been using any other agent except for Jett since I've started instalocking her, with a few exceptions like on Deathmatch or in the 2 games that I forgot I had to instalock her. Anyway, I was doing all of this while this handsome fella was being added to the game. I don't know about you, but being the person I am, I had the strong urge of trying out Harbor for one game. I mean, I could have definitely done it without you guys noticing and editing out the part where I did play him, which I absolutely didn't. And yes, I wanted to play Harbor, but a commitment, unlike you know not November, is a commitment. One thing I almost forgot to mention was the reaction of the people when I was instalocking. Most of the time people didn't mind, but when they did...
Bro, why you fucking instalocking Jett?
Why instalock?
Have 30 kills or you report it, my guy. You heard me.
Let's go.
Oh.
Jett, what is your rank?
Nah, man, what the fuck?
Okay, if you yell one more time in my ear, I'm muting you.
Why do you install?
Reported.
About using Jett's other abilities, there isn't much to say to be honest. They're simple enough that I didn't have much trouble using them correctly, and the most trouble I had was with controlling Jett's smokes, but even I, a noob beta male who is neither attractive to any woman or man, was able to control her smokes at least decently.
Enemy killed.
Spike planted.
3.
He TP'd somewhere.
One enemy remaining.
Another week of improvements has passed, and we come to the final week of this nightmare. All the training has come to this. So guess what I decided to do? All the answers are wrong. I decided to take a break from playing Valorant for 4 days because even the worst players need a break from this. Taking a break made me feel that coming back I would be rusty, and I had to relearn how to play Jett all over again. But to my surprise, I played well and even managed to play better than I did before. Still whiffing, but better. During these last days is when I played the games I had the most fun with. There was that one game which I streamed subscribe to not miss, where there was this enemy Cypher. He wanted to show us a little gun called Odin. Well, I didn't take that lightly, so I showed him who the real Odin noob is around here.
One enemy remaining. 10 seconds. One enemy remaining.
In the next game, we played against some super tryhard PH players,
One enemy.
typical Filipinos, who showed literally no mercy.
Spike planted. One enemy remaining.
And even though I kinda popped off in the end of the game,
Spike planted.
they still obliterated us. Then, we played unrated.
Because our spirits were crushed by the sheer amount of defeat we experienced the previous game.
And without tryharding, I just kept getting kill after kill after kill.
One enemy remaining.
And somehow, I managed to do this.
One down.
In the last game of that very same day,
Spike planted. One enemy.
they actually thought I was smurfing.
Last player standing.
Jett, what is your ran?
Gold 1.
Immortal?
Gold 1.
LMO. Yeah, gold 1 only headshot with Sheriff. Smurf.
Just about to derank.
I regret this. Remember the game I told you to remember? No.
Spike down.
Anyway, this was a game where I went all in with the Jett ult without even trying.
One enemy remaining.
Aw, thought you try harder.
For the last day of instalocking Jett, I had to do something special. So after a terrible game with my friend against an Ascendant Chamber, in order to get the full, stereotypical instalocker experience, it was time to go solo. In comp. I actually haven't played without a friend in the entire 30 days of instalocking Jett up to this point. First game, I instalocked, so the rest of the team decided to go full duelist, but with the power of the rushing him technique,
Rushing Jim as in rushing him. Get it?
which was working 100% of the time except the times it didn't work. We won the game. In fact, it was so successful we also used the technique while defending.
One enemy remaining. Flawless.
Second game, I decided to spice it up and not use voice chat at all, just like an average Giga Chat instalocker. But I was still gonna be kind enough to keep the morale high. So, would you look at that?
Oh no!
Lap players. So of course I played terribly. In the beginning. But then everything changed when the Fire Nation— Wait. Wrong line. Everything changed in the middle of the match.
One enemy remaining.
And when I was struggling, my teammates believed in me.
10 seconds left.
Oops.
Take it and save.
One enemy remaining.
Ace.
Spike planted.
So we lost. Third and final game of solo queuing, which was the most impactful game of them all. Not because I got carried by a raise in 113-0,
Let's go.
and not because I decided to use the up every round after the 6, but it was because I achieved what every great instalocker has achieved before me.
Enemy down.
The absolute pinnacle of instalocking, which is bottom fragging. Then I played 2 more games with friends. Then I argued with one of the random teammates.
You do like this one, you are going at work and somebody else for that like one this. If you running like that one, you gonna
I did what he told me to do because I like being submissive, but those games don't matter anymore. Because I've ascended from the lowest lows of making out of context videos to Alpha Male Giga Chat 14 Pro Max. So what did I learn from this experience?
Oh boy. I have learned that it was a terrible idea. 0 out of 10 would not recommend. I think that only the bit-to-mail virgins would ever think of instalocking an agent for 30 days. And thank God this guy didn't decide to go full-on toxic like an actual instalock.
I've definitely learned how to control my shots better. I aim for the head more now, and I finally reached the point where I can use Jett ultimate decently. And it has been such a weird experience with its ups and downs that will be very hard to forget. And on top of it all, the most important thing I've learned from this is that if you made it this far into the video, don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that.
Hey Mark,
Hey yo.
could you tell me why this credit card isn't working?